The Match Ball.
Hello there, welcome to the show. This one is brought to you by...
Levi Solicitors.
Because?
Well, because they sponsor it.
That's right.
Yeah. It's the deal we did. But they want to tell you about 15% off. They want to tell you about that off conveyancing.
I don't think they do. I think
wills.
they want you to tell
Don't
us.
that's what I'm doing. Conveyancing wills and lasting powers of attorney till the end of October.
Because that's their
90th birthday
month.
Yeah.
In their 90th birthday year. It's Dan, Michael and Rob with you on the match ball for Leeds' 2-0 victory away to Cardiff City. Should we start with your big three then? And what should the big three things to be to talk about today? I've got Ramazani, penalties, and the third thing. Is it going to be Outanaka?
Sublime money. Absolutely sublime when he came on.
Giving the Ballon d'Or.
Just beautiful. The way you pulling strings in midfield, yeah, dictating play. I especially like that one that he mishit that bobbled around. That was particularly good.
I think it's going to be a hard one to reflect as this because it was fine and it was really comfortable, but everyone seems cross about it. From a brief look on Twitter. And I wouldn't say I'm angry about it by any stretch.
There was a lot of annoying moments. It's a very Leeds United thing to do, to win very comfortably and make everyone furious at the same time. But yeah, it's it should have been about 4 or 5-0, shouldn't it?
Yeah, well, it undoubtedly should. Yeah, there were loads of chances.
I mean, barring a crap penalty, it would have been 3, which is about as comfortable as you're going to find. Because it was weird, wasn't it? Because I've come out of that. So let's make number 3 then. The third thing, the mood. Yeah, because my mood coming out of that is like, yeah, fine. But again, I've barely got excited again. Possibly because it was a bit weird as a contest in that Cardiff were terrible. The sending off obviously kind of ended it as a contest in any meaningful sense, barring Leeds' attempts to not quite put it to bed. So you were never going to get that excited because it was likely to be one-way traffic. Again, people seem to be frustrated with the style of play, rightly or wrongly, but it's just got us what turned out to be a fairly comfortable victory in the end with Pirro's goal. So why is everyone upset? And I'm just playing devil's advocate because I know why people are upset.
I suppose it felt a little bit like, admittedly, England are not as bad as they used to be, but there was definitely a period under England where you'd go to San Marino and like win 3-0 and you'd think, can't beat them more than 3-0. It's a lot of like plumbers and postmen. And I'm not saying Cardiff are that bad, but they didn't have much about them, did they?
They did have that guy in midfield who I refuse to believe was a footballer. He just looked like a man that was just on the pitch.
A bloke.
Yeah, so they've just got a bloke playing. Come on. But I don't know.
It was just a bit uninspiring, but at the same time, we undoubtedly deserved to win. We did create plenty of chances. It's not like they were non-stop, and there was not massive periods of sustained pressure, which maybe against 10 men bottom of the league, you expect that you'll just have them hemmed in and be absolutely peppering them. And it didn't feel like that was really happening. Which when it's 1-0 is risky because there was the long throw, wasn't there, towards the end when it was still 1-0, and there was a handball shout, and there's a bit of you thinks like it can happen. The team can have absolutely nothing, but something.
Is there a little mischievous part of you?
Something catastrophic occurs.
Well, at least I'll feel something if that goes in.
I mean, that actually led to our second goal, didn't it? But I think the goals as well, like they weren't. We did a lot of nice passing that did lead to chances which we wasted, but then the 2 goals we scored were quite basic, really, and that's fine. Like they were both brilliant finishes, and Ramazani made it a lot more exciting by doing a backflip after the first one. But yeah, you didn't look at those 2 goals and go, oh, "That's beautiful football." It was kind of like, "Oh, we're just better than them."
Yeah, it was. I mean, the first one, it was we just won a header and ended up through on goal. Was more or less the gist of it. There was no build up at all to it, was there? And a very nice finish. Let's take nothing away from that.
Should we talk about Ramazani then? Specifically,
yeah.
After he'd done that wild air shot, and you thought, "Oh,
he'd gone full Luke Varney like 30 seconds before he scored, where he just like someone had put a stick in the spokes of his bicycle and just fell over." But they made like brilliant finish. It was so like tightly into the post.
Yeah,
very
it was
nice.
very pleasing, wasn't it? The angle from behind him, where you can just see it just curling in. Yeah, it was very well taken, and his touches were good too to take it away from the defender, so he couldn't get a block on it without just clattering him. So yeah, it was a good finish. Overall, it was all right.
Took a bit too long on the ball sometimes, didn't he? I think he's used to maybe not as frantic football like Champo football, but yeah, took a bit too long sometimes. A couple of times he took the wrong option, but first start, first goal, that's what you want, isn't it?
Yeah, he did, and he did take it well, and his celebration was great. And obviously, the air shot didn't weigh on his shoulders because he manages to get his shoulders under his arse when he did that backflip. So that was good. What do you think of his general play outside of that, Michael? He didn't really beat anybody, did he?
No, but then it was a game that's probably a little bit tough for his style because, particularly with them having a man sent off, it meant, I mean, they were defending deep and not pressing anyway for any of the game. But then once it was 10 men, it was just very compact behind camped on the edge of their own box. So there was not an awful lot of space for him to run in behind. But nah, he was fine. I've no real complaints.
Well, on that, let's jump ahead to the dickhead ref chat and talk about the red card.
Very, very blatant, wasn't it? Like as obvious a decision as you could make, similar to the penalty as well. Just go, yes, that's a penalty.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit of an angle, wasn't he? Nonto is the only thing that you could say there's scope for it to be a yellow because he's not right in the centre of the goal. But yeah, when he fouled him, I think I shouted for it because it looked like he was through on goal and he stopped him. So
you saw that as well when he got up, he's in on goal. So if he hadn't have been kicked to the floor in the meantime, he'd have been in on goal quicker.
You can change direction after you've run in one direction as well.
No, it's just for referees looking for a bit of a bottle of a decision that can go, oh, well, he was a bit wide, so he'd have had to come in, then it might have allowed someone else to cover, but I think it was the right decision.
Yeah, and had he made it into the area when the foul happened, the guy would have stayed on because of the double jeopardy rule, because you don't get a straight red and a penalty, do you, anymore?
No.
But mind you, we know what would have happened if we'd have got a penalty.
Well, yes.
So no arguments on the red. Not that we've got a case for making an argument because it benefited us.
I couldn't give a fuck. I wanted him sent off.
Thank you, Michael. And then get it again. The penalty, fairly clear cut, wasn't it? Trip on Bogle.
Yeah,
wrong-footed the man.
No, I mean they didn't complain at all, did they? No.
I mean they did try and complain with the red card, didn't they?
Yeah, they did a bit, but
there was I couldn't see anyone back covering that meant he couldn't have got a shot off, which is a goal scoring opportunity.
Yeah, I thought it was perfectly fine. And it's not like it changed the game either, because that was, 20-odd minutes in, and they'd done nothing. Absolutely nothing up to that point.
Yes. Other reffy bits, I can't think of anything he's done wrong, so we could probably just move on from him. He seemed to be all right.
Got in the way a lot.
Yes, he did.
Oh, yeah, second half, he was like their holding midfielder for about 10 minutes, wasn't he? Like on the edge of their box, sort of getting in Nonto's way, and then he did block a couple of passes, didn't he?
Yeah. But overall, it wasn't a particularly difficult game to referee. I don't think the decisions he had to make, I thought, were fairly clear, and there wasn't much bickering going on, was there? Or he booked Bogle for diving, didn't he? Which probably looked fair enough.
He was looking for it, wasn't he?
Yeah. Had he not appealed, had he just gone down and not appealed, then maybe he might have got away with that. But yeah, the fact that he immediately looked at the ref in that way that players do indicated it was the outcome that he was trying to.
Well, so it's very inconsistent. He's being booked for diving, because there's loads of times when people do it and don't get booked. But
I think Bogle might have just irritated him a few times previous as well, because he had those little bit of handbags at the touch line.
Yeah,
and was there a few like shirt pulls and stuff? So I think he might have just gone, do you know what? You're annoying me. Just have a booking. Yeah.
Just to dive into a couple of comments that have come in on the YouTube stream. We are live on YouTube for our TSB Plus members. Joel O'Brien is saying that Farker is hashtag boring. That's a very modern way to describe someone as boring, using a hashtag. Don't know if you've heard of those.
I have, yeah.
Yep. Do you use them?
Not really.
What's your favourite hashtag?
Ask Andros.
Was it not? Was it not Susan album party?
Oh, that was that one. Yeah,
that was the one. I think it was your favourite, wasn't it? And then Lance is a counterpoint to that, saying 80% possession, a bit boring, but I'll take a boring 2-0 all season if it means we're back in the Premier League next season.
I mean, we are racking up some boring 2-0s this year, aren't we?
I mean, if Aronson scores that chance straight after half time, where he's like inside the 6-yard box and he's basically got the whole of the near post area to aim for, and he puts that wide, and if we score the penalty and we win 4-0, I don't think it's boring. And because also I think part of that tedium was that it was still 1-0 and we were fucking about. And it wasn't tension, was it? Because they never looked like they were going to score. But it was just like, lads, can we just win this game? You're just wasting everyone's time here because we know we're going to win. So at least put a few goals in.
When we scored the second, when Pirro scored, obviously you're happy to be 2-0 in front, knowing that the game's done and dusted. But were you happy sort of at that point thinking, yeah, good? Because it doesn't feel like anybody is.
Well, I was pleased to know we were actually going to win, because there was just little moments, weren't there? Just Leedsy bits that you think we could still fuck this up. But I mean, realistically, they've scored once all season and they look a lot like a team who've scored once all season, don't they? Like, they didn't have anything. They had their XG came from a free kick, and then there was that completely wild shot, and then there was the one where after we'd scored, we let them have a shot on target. That was it. 3 shots from outside the box was, I'm pretty sure, all they managed in the entire game.
And as Bryan said, at least Meslier made a save when it mattered.
It was a good save, actually, was that?
How did he get through? That was confusing.
I think we just let him. I think because we got a 2-goal lead, we were like, you can have a little turn, and it's fine. I can't see the person in the comments anymore, but sympathy to the person who had the 3-0 and Stroud to score.
Yes, HH, I'll put it on screen now on the stream. A moment of silence for me, please, who had Leeds 3-0 and Pascal to score at 50-1.
That is a bit heartbreaking. I'd say send a letter to Pascal, explain, and say, if you just send me £50 in an envelope.
Yeah, that's fair. He's got it, hasn't he?
That'd be fine. I don't know what the bet was, but I think 50 quid would be fair compensation for it, wouldn't it? I assume it's a small. You don't go big money on 3-0 Stroud to score, do you?
But you put a fiver on, don't you? When it's an accumulator sort of thing.
I mean, if he's put his house on it, then Stroud really should be compensating him.
It was a terrible penalty. I don't know who's going to take him now, because Pirro's not likely to be on the pitch.
Should he be on the pitch? Let's talk about that.
It was a lovely finish. It's funny, when he came on, I said he'd score, because I was like, it just feels like a game where he'll get a bit of space and he'll be able to finish.
Like the whole game.
Yeah, just that. And he's brilliant. I wouldn't want anyone else in that position with the ball. It's just the stuff he does when he plays number 10 and he goes a whole game without you actually noticing him there.
Yeah, there's an interesting sort of question around Pirro. But when you think about having that to come off your bench, it's a really useful thing to have, isn't it? It's a 10, 12 million pound striker who comes on and puts that game to bed. Yeah, which you can't say is the case for most of the division.
I would be interested to see him start at number 9, and he might just be Joel Pirro and really annoying still and a bit anonymous. And I don't think he's ever been good enough for Leeds for us to say we should build a team around him. But it was interesting in pre-season that, I think it was until the Valencia game, him and Joseph were basically going goal for goal, like they were just scoring in every game. So maybe he is worth a go there, because I thought Joseph did a few good bits in the first half. He was unlucky really, because there was that chance where he brought it down really nicely and cut inside and forced a good save. But then he did drift out of it the second half, I think. But then everyone did it. Like, everyone was sort of taking poor touches or poor passes or just taking the wrong option. It was pretty frustrating.
We got low-key annoyed at that, didn't we? And it's like, because where's the comment gone now? Let me have a look, see if I can find it. I'll make the point and I'll see if I can find the comment. But somebody's saying that Farke was looking unhappy for the most part on that touchline, which suggests that, he's not necessarily, it's Lee, there you go, I've put it on screen, chuntering and Flappy Army most of the game. He wasn't particularly happy with that performance. And we shared frustrations in here, like, why can't we just pass well to each other? We always seem to be like hitting things behind them, or body shape's all wrong, or it just, not quite accurate passing, which seems to contribute to slowing it all down. Yeah,
it seems to be that when we pass to wingers, the ball's always behind them and they're always facing back to their own goal, so they can only ever just knock it backwards again, and then it goes across the back, then it goes to the other winger who does the same, and then sometimes Jayden Bogle's in loads of space and they refuse to pass to him, but then they do pass to him and you can see why they don't sometimes. There was a bit towards the end of the first half where Bogle had been stood for what felt like 10 minutes just in loads of space on the right hand side, and then it went to him and he knackered it up, and that was pretty much the end of the first half.
It's where I had sympathy for Farke last week. I think I said on one of the podcasts, like when Ampadu gets the ball from kick-off against Burnley and just boots it 15 yards to the side of Stroud, it's like, you just got to be better than that. And there was a lot of it today where Rodon and Stroud are passing it between themselves, or the midfielder passing it between themselves. But every yard is like just behind them. Every pass, is just behind them. And you think, just come on, you're better footballers than that. And they have shown that when we do play well and it's a bit more fluent, we just pass it a lot slicker. And Farke's reaction shows that he doesn't want them to do what they were doing today.
I was going to say that you can't put that on Farke, can you? Unless you are to say that he's not coaching them to do passing, which you would hope they are doing, because they probably just do rondos and that, don't they, in training?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, so that's about the extent of my coaching knowledge. I know you're the expert.
Finish with a five-a-side, yeah, lovely.
Yeah. He's not instructing them to pass it to each other badly.
No, it does seem weird sometimes, the extent to which we can't do basic stuff. But then the weird thing today was that it never felt like it was going to matter, because they had so little threat that we did give it away a few times. We did waste chances, and so what? because they just had nothing about them.
It can be a problem. I felt like on the opening day of the season against Portsmouth, when we had that brilliant start, it did feel like the players just found it all a bit easy. And then they just got a bit complacent, and then you had like Firpo and Bogle swapping sides and stuff. And today I think they were like, well, you've seen the state of these guys. They're not going to score, so we'll just knock it around and we'll get there eventually. And I suppose they did, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, we watched this from our German office today.
Oh, did we? Yes.
On LUTV. And Stewie Dallas was in the studio there with Emma and Michael Bridges, and he cautioned against that at half-time. I think it's almost, you've got to be careful that these things don't become too easy and you start to switch off a little bit because you think you've got it won and there's very little in the way of it being a contest. So I suppose it presents a challenge of its own.
Yeah, and just looking at the stats here, like they completed 107 passes in the entire game. So,
how many of them in our box?
Any? I don't know. Let's have a look. I can't see it on this screen, but I know at halftime they'd had 0 touches in our box. So yeah, it was a very 2 all game. They had 2 touches in our box. So it's as one-sided a game as we'll probably get this season, and it's one that, particularly with them having 10 men, we could probably have won it about 6-0.
Yeah,
if we'd have had a bit of determination and just tried to batter them and actually played well. As it was, it was a real sort of 5 out of 10 performance, but it was still absolutely adequate for this.
Yeah, good tweet or post from Joe Donoghue illustrating this point, actually saying you can see how pedestrian that game was today. 11 Leeds United men, including the second half stoppage time sub out. Tanaka completed more passes than the Bluebirds' most frequent passer, Will Fish. 5 Leeds players with greater than 90% pass completion won't have an easier fixture all year.
Yeah. It was proper pre-season vibes to it. I think it was you, Dan, likened it during the game to playing out a draw, but it was playing out a 0-0.
Yeah.
It was just, they seemed really content to just be losing 1-0, and we weren't pushing them too hard for anything else, were we?
No, in terms of just sort of analysing what Farke did, starting lineup, we said it barely changes unless they're forced upon him when we're in a fairly decent space. I know everyone's not been happy recently and we lost to Burnley, but he doesn't make changes willy-nilly. So
no, and his message throughout has been, this is fine, this is good. He's never shown any annoyance with the players, so it always felt like it was unlikely.
He doubled down in the presser, actually, didn't he, this week?
Yeah. And people have been calling for maybe Gruev to drop out. I thought he was really good today.
He was.
Yeah.
I
think he's been really good all season, actually, for most of it. I think he's potentially been better than Ampadu, but
he had 3 shots in the first half.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's never going to score, is he?
Do you know why that is? Al Tanaka stood there on the sideline.
Exactly. When he sees cameos like that, I've got to be on my game here.
And just training with the man all week as well.
Yeah.
What an
his presence.
Joy.
Threatened. That's what I'm taking from it. He's threatened. Subs-wise, they were quite late with the subs. People were getting a bit grumbly, wanting them earlier. But truth be told, timing of them worked, didn't it?
We get worse when he makes subs, so I'm fine with him just holding it off.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Same. Really.
So what time were the subs? Let's have a look.
It was. They were all pretty late. I think they were all about 80 minutes onwards.
84,
weren't they?
yeah. So Pirro for Bogle, 84. Byron for Ramazani, same moment. Rothwell on at 90 for Gruev. And then it was Tanaka.
This is where the joyous bit of the game started for you.
Well, that's why we took total control of it, I think, at that point. Tanaka on for Joseph and Schmidt came on for Nonto, both in injury time. So they were very much running the clock down type subs.
That's right. The type of game it was as well. Probably no one's very tired in that because it was all played. It was all played in their half, so there was not any real running involved. I say as someone who would have been absolutely knackered having done it, obviously. But I'm sure if you looked at meters covered in that game, it can't have been all that many because it was not end to end at all, was it?
Are you saying no one tried? Is that what you?
Not saying no one tried. Just saying it was basically all played in one half, which means there's less running.
Well, stoppage time, everyone was playing walking football.
Yeah.
Which was a bit annoying because I was like, we could definitely score a third here. But it was, at least the crowd got to do a few olays at that point.
Do you think maybe Farke falls a little bit victim to that, to the nature of some games in the Championship, where people obviously unhappy because we lost to Burnley, who are going to be one of the better teams in this division this year. We've played an absolutely awful side today, in awful form in Cardiff, who just offered no threat whatsoever, didn't pass it, didn't get in our box. And people are annoyed because we've won 2, could have been 3-0.
I suppose you can compare to last season, maybe when we went to Rotherham, who were terrible, and we made a meal of that and we drew, didn't we? And this didn't ever feel like that was. It didn't feel like it was on the cards at any point, did it?
No.
I suppose you don't know how it pans out with 10. They might have a spell in the second half where they just manage to apply a little bit of pressure and you worry about it. But I suppose if you kind of compare to Rotherham of last year, it was better than that, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, of course it was. Well, we came out of it with a win and a comfortable one at that. Who would you have as your man of the match?
I know FOTMob have got as man of the match.
Is it Altanaka?
On the algorithm. It's this guy on the mug, Stewie Furpo.
Really?
What, you mean to say you can get that mug at thesquareball.net?
Could celebrate with a mug. Yeah, he was our best player apparently. But everyone played fine for us and everyone was terrible for them, which is about the size of it, apart from Anakin Chambers, the goalkeeper and the centre-back.
And,
I think made a few decent saves.
Just looking at SofaScore, they've got Bogle and Furpo as our highest rated.
Oh.
Which is a very
Bogle won the pen, didn't he?
algorithm rating, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, everyone's in the green there, with the exception of Matteo Joseph, who just fell just under 7 on FOTMob, which I think is harsh on him. The algorithm's done him dirty there because I thought he contributed a lot in that game.
Yeah, like you say, there was the decent save when he cut inside, and then there was the one where Ramazani's shot was saved as well. It was cut across, and he was right behind Ramazani, and he might have had a better chance if he'd allowed to run onto it with his right foot, but you can see where Ramazani took it.
He really should have scored that as well, and that would have been
should.
a nice goal. Admittedly, they were shambolic at the back, but we actually moved it well and spotted the players in space. It was weird how in the first half it did feel like we did sometimes just chip the ball behind their defence, and that's what led to the Joseph chance where he did force the save. But in the second half, whether it was just because they were defending so deep or whatever, we never really tried that. It was a lot of passing. I was just looking at my notes, and it was 78 minutes, and I've just written everyone can fuck off, and that was that passing sequence where every pass was sort of behind each other.
We got to the point of laughing, didn't we, Nick?
It led to Aronson, who eventually maybe just lost the ball or whatever. But every pass, like we were keeping the ball, it was just so unprecise. It was infuriating.
I've got a note for the same minute. Why are all our passes shit?
There you go.
That's what I wrote down. It's weird actually because I think we'd probably see this game differently if we score, for example, the one where it's pulled back and Ramazani puts it wide. If we score the penalty, which comes from a nice bit of play to create space for Bogle, who's then fouled, you can kind of say, oh, well, we scored some good goals in this game, whereas it feels like the goals we did score just sort of happened out of nothing, and so don't really count because we're all miserable.
I'm not miserable. I'm happy now. I'm happy we've won that.
Yeah, it feels fine. The thing is, this season seems to be about just having a reset with some fairly bog standard 2-0 wins, doesn't it?
Oh, Simon Windmill, thank you for this, saying that Farker's mad we weren't ready for the penalty rebound.
Yeah, I suppose.
Annoyed at that.
Well, I'm trying to think where it went. Did he go up in the air?
Back into the middle of the area, was it?
Yeah. Poor old Pascal.
In terms of your optimism scale, Michael, are you genuinely not happy with that? Like, because I know it wasn't a perfect
I'm not happy
win,
with it at all.
You know, there are two teams playing a football match.
I've seen us go to Cardiff and struggle lots and lots in my life, and that was as easy a game as we've had there.
Yeah.
So no, I'm not unhappy at all. Optimism wise, I still think we're probably going up.
Optimism's dangerous.
Yeah.
For us.
All right, we're not going up.
When we get optimistic and confident, that's when things start to go wrong.
Have you bet against us going up yet?
No, it's too early for that. Plus, we're not. If we'd have won all our games and we were like currently nailed on favourites, I'd be looking at that. But no, there's no value to it at this point.
It says how bad Cardiff were that even after we went 1-up, you didn't bother betting on them.
I was like, shall I? And we was like, nah.
That is genuine.
I was telling you to give me the money.
I was going to say that genuinely is a proper like bellwether for how that was going.
We discussed investing it at Greg's, didn't we? Instead, rather than just giving it.
You
to
give
a
me that
bookmaker.
$5, I'll go get us some sausage rolls,
which we didn't do either.
No, we didn't.
I even my pessimism levels didn't allow me to think we would lose this today.
No,
not having gone a goal up against 10 men.
So where are you in terms of time in your life level of optimism right now?
It just feels a bit like last season still at the moment.
So your last season where? At what point?
About the same point. Yeah. Where we were starting to look all right, And I was thinking, well, we've got enough good players that we should.
We beat Millwall at a canter around this time last year.
Yes, but it's probably fair actually, because that's another place where we've struggled over the years, and we just went there and were better than them and won easily. Was that 3-0?
That was 3-0.
Yeah,
This should have
3-0.
been, shouldn't it?
Yeah,
When
this should
Georgie
should
scored.
easily have been 3-0.
I think obviously that Millwall game was more fun because we did score some really nice goals.
Mm.
Whereas today, like you say, it was just a bit.
Score the fun chances, not the shit ones.
Right.
Come on, Leeds.
Is that what you're after?
Yeah, basically.
More backflips.
The backflip was good.
Hmm.
First backflip since
Trezor Campbell.
Trezor.
Yeah.
Are you not counting Luke Ayling?
It wasn't a backflip, was it? It was hugely athletic and impressive. No one's denying that. It was real gymnastics, but no, it was not quite Kandol Ramazani levels.
The second half was at such a stasis at one point. I suggested that Ramazani just start doing backflips just to fuck with them because I thought it might get in their heads or throw them off the game a bit.
Yeah, we said that on corners, shouldn't we? We should just come and do them across the box.
We nearly scored from a corner.
Well, no, we didn't.
We almost did.
Is that when it fell for us and nobody shot?
Yeah, and then they ended up with a goal kick when it inexplicably looked like another corner. But as we said before, probably just for the best.
Ampadu and Strout looked so surprised that we might have a chance from a corner. They both forgot to shoot.
I can't believe you're classing that as almost scoring from a corner.
Well, it was close.
No one had a shot.
If it had gone to one of our players
Who had a shot and scored.
and they didn't have any players in the way,
Yeah,
and it had gone in the net,
so close.
I was also asking how many players they'd have to get sent off before we might score from a corner.
Yeah, I think we discussed the possibility they'd have to just not replace a goalkeeper who'd been sent off to give us a chance of scoring from a corner. But it'll happen one day, won't it?
I'm just looking at the photos that the picture agency have sent through, and
That makes them sound like they're sending him just directly to you.
no,
Just
to the internet. Really,
to the internet, right?
There's a nice photo of Joel Peru with Matteo Joseph on his shoulders, and then there's about 10 or 12. I don't know if the photographers managed to not get the backflip in. It looks like he's taking it through a cloud. The one that I'm just looking at. So we've got about 12 of Daniel Farker with the Leeds crowd at the end. So he's got a good reception from the away end anyway, even if people feel a little bit narky about us not putting teams to the sword.
You know what I thought was just crossed my mind? Their manager might get sacked after this because that's going to be six games, 1 point, 1 goal. And Neil Warnock was in that stadium today.
Oh, Michael.
So, you're telling me he's not having a word in the boardroom?
Oh.
I could do something with these lads.
Sharon just wants me out of the house. She fucking can't fucking stand me. Yeah.
It's possible.
He'd have been chatting to the 49ers before the game.
Because they've tried now, haven't they? They've done the European appointment. They had Lamouchi before Bullock, didn't they? They've tried to not get... Because they went from like Warnock, Harris, McCarthy, Morrison. They went through proper old school men to trying to go a bit fancy, and it's not worked.
I want to say, thanks to Neil, actually, who sent me a tweet through earlier from a Cardiff fan. He was atting the club saying, "A shame to see Bullock go, the best manager since Warnock, but this is tactically horrific."
In what way is he the best manager since Warnock, then?
You tell me.
Eyebrows? Non-eyebrows?
Who knows?
Who knows? But, I mean, there's not an awful lot to say shouldn't be sacked in that game. If you were trying to point at the good bits,
when it ended for them,
I don't really know what you're going to say. Like, we've restricted them a bit at 1-0, although they should have admittedly won by about 3 or 4. Yeah, he's surely going to go.
I would have thought so. Table's starting to take shape now, as you might expect. Do we bother having to look at it yet?
Well,
or is it only when we start to get right up there that we're interested in that?
I did start looking at it when we won a few games last month. So yeah, when we win, I will look at it. So you can tell us.
We're up to about, 5th now or something like that?
We're in the playoffs, aren't we?
Oh, great.
Which is great news.
If we can keep this momentum up, get a couple of wins under our belt, everyone can settle down. It's fine. Sometimes you got to win ugly.
Yeah, true enough.
Wasn't even ugly either. It was. I'm trying to think what's in between ugly and not and pretty.
Plain Jane.
There you go. Yeah, it was a plain Jane win.
For some reason, FOTMob haven't added our win onto the.
Are those Leeds hating bastards trying to keep us out of the playoffs?
Yeah, they've just failed to add it to the table. But I think we are about 5th or thereabouts, which is great. But yeah, Burnley getting up there now. Sheffield United, Sunderland no longer top. Finished club.
It looks that way.
And West Brom running away with it, 5 points ahead of us.
Someone could do with nicking Corbran. I kept thinking this at the start of last season with McKenna at Ipswich. I was like, go on. Someone who's struggling, just employ him. Particularly Corbran, it'd be a great shout for someone down the bottom of the Prem because he's quite defensive and pragmatic, and he'd be a great Ipswich manager.
Yeah, they're bottom now, I think.
They should get Corbran in.
Very much so. We'll just about wrap it up there, I think, on the match ball. We've got extra time for TSB Plus members. Have a look on the audio version of this in your podcast app. If you don't know how to do that, you can add it to your podcast app. Manually add the show, don't you?
You do, yeah. It'll be called like RSS or URL or something in your podcast app.
And then you can listen to it like any other show. And we've got a bit of bonus stuff, a bit of a debrief coming for the next 5-10 minutes after we finish this show. Comments are just starting to drip through now from the managers. Bullets saying that the plan was to stay compact, but the plan after the red card went out the window. Not easy against a team like Leeds, but we also invited them onto us by giving the ball away. So no one's happy.
That's football, isn't it?
I'm happy enough. It's fine, isn't it?
I'm fine.
I'll sleep well.
Yeah.
I nearly slept well during the game, to be perfectly honest, but it was fine.
Right, we'll wrap it up there then, and we'll be back for more match ball action. Who have we got next? Coventry.
Coventry.
Now we'll beat those chumps. See you in a bit.
The match ball.